What is up, YouTube? It's Rules for Rebels here, and I have a video that I think you guys are really going to like today. We're going to be talking about private labeling, importing, and sourcing products. Now, I know Alibaba can be really confusing when you're just starting out, and a lot of the emails I get from you guys are you're really confused with the layout and the interface of Alibaba. It doesn't have a shopping cart. Prices aren't really listed. It's all up to negotiation. A lot of times they have really high minimum order quantities or MOQs. And it's totally understandable that your first time importing a product or even your first time selling a product, you don't necessarily want to buy 500 or 1,000 units because what if they don't sell well? What if the competition's too stiff, etc. So I would say probably the three biggest problems, hurdles, whatever we want to call it, that a lot of you guys just getting started are facing are number one, you're not quite ready to meet the minimum order quantities of Alibaba. Number two, you just find the entire process very confusing from how to pay them to how the shipping's done, how do you handle custom stuff, how do you find freight forwarders, etc. And then probably the third biggest problem that you guys run into is the whole process of private labeling. So I think DHGate is going to simplify this for a lot of you guys. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about DHGate and kind of comparing it to Alibaba. And guys, I really kind of blame myself here. I think this is kind of my fault. I've always kind of steered you guys to AliExpress, and I do think that AliExpress is a great site. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of products that I physically sell that I source on AliExpress. There's some products where I'm actually able to get a better price on AliExpress on 10 units than I am ordering 100 or even 1,000 units from Alibaba. So sometimes AliExpress has better prices. And one thing I will say really briefly is sometimes AliExpress is going to be the best fit for you. Sometimes Alibaba is going to be the best fit for you. Sometimes DHGate is going to be the best fit for you. And sometimes it may be some domestic wholesaler in the USA and you don't even have to order from China. But let me get into this. So why DHGate may be the right sourcing option for you. Number one, it's geared towards smaller quantities than Alibaba. So whereas, even though most of the sellers on Alibaba are going to say minimum order of 100 or 500 or 1,000 pieces, a lot of times if you message the sellers, you'll find that they're actually willing to work with you on smaller orders. But nonetheless, typically Alibaba is going to require larger order quantities than a DHGate. So DHGate, let me touch on one more thing. Alibaba is all for resellers, wholesalers, whatever you want to call it, importers. AliExpress is kind of a business to consumer, which means essentially AliExpress is like an eBay or Amazon. It's not necessarily meant to be wholesale, although the prices are low enough that you can get stuff wholesale. And because not a lot of people in the USA use AliExpress, there is room to buy those prices and go and resell them on eBay and Amazon. The difference between AliExpress and DHGate, I think DHGate, it's more of a B2B, business to business, as well as a business to consumer site. But one of the, actually let me show you guys something here real quick. So if I do a search on DHGate for watermelon slicer, and then I come over here and do one on AliExpress for watermelon slicer, if you notice here, we have a box that we can check for wholesale. Now this is going to give us quote-unquote lots. So let's go around, but typically what you're going to see here is they're already going to have clear pricing laid out. So if you order 20 plus items, this is your price. If you order 83 items, you get a price drop, 100, etc. Over here, we'll click this one. Sometimes they'll have a quote-unquote bulk discount, which is like, spend over $100, get 5% off, or okay, so here they give you $9 off for every $99 that you spend. Other times you'll see a little drop down here that shows a bulk discount. You get 5% off if you order more than 10 units, etc. But AliExpress is kind of more geared towards wholesale. They'll actually list the various prices for wholesale. And why this is kind of better than Alibaba is because when you go on Alibaba, you might see a price range 10 cents to $10, and it's pretty much up to you to tell them how many pieces you want and then negotiate a price. Here, everything's laid out pretty cleanly for you. Like, you can see what the pricing is right here. But let's get right back into this here. Okay, so we talked about how it's geared more towards wholesale than AliExpress. Number three, you can pay with your credit card. And this is another kind of point where a lot of people get either confused or nervous. On Alibaba, not a lot of sellers are going to be accepting credit cards or PayPal. A lot of them are going to accept bank wires, Western Union, and MoneyGram. Now, once you've established some trust with a seller, you've worked with a seller, I have no problem sending Western Union or MoneyGram to somebody I've worked with before. But as I've told you guys before, I've been scammed 3 times in the past probably 6 months out of $500, Western Unioning new sellers' money. So for that reason, I've decided that, you know, I'm not really crazy about Western Union. I'll send bank wires. I'll do TT, which is basically like an Ali escrow system with wires and stuff like that. But I'm not really comfortable doing MoneyGram or Western Union with somebody I haven't done business with. And that's one of the things I really like about AliExpress is you can pay with credit cards. And the same way, DHGate allows you to pay with a credit card. Not only is it easy, you don't have to run to the bank and send a wire, you don't have to run to Walgreens and send a Western Union, but it also offers an added layer of protection. So not only does DHGate have their own buyer protection, but worst case scenario, even if DHGate doesn't protect you, you can always do a credit card chargeback. And if the seller never shipped the item to you or something like that, you're going to get your money back from the credit card company one way or the other. Number 4, items are typically shipped by air to your door. So when you order stuff off Alibaba, you can get it, you know, FOB air shipping to your door where you don't owe customs fees or anything like that. But more often than not, for larger order quantities, they're either going to ship it by sea, and then it's going to come into a port, and you got to work with freight forwarders to get it to your home city, and you got to fill out some customs documents, and you got to pay import fees and stuff like that. With DHGate, 99% of the time, unless you're dealing with either really heavy or really bulky items, the stuff's going to be shipped to your door just like as if you ordered off AliExpress or Amazon or eBay. It's going to take a little bit longer, but you're going to have a FedEx or a DHL package show up at your door with your items. You're not going to have to work with freight forwarders. You're not going to have to fill out customs paperwork. All that stuff's going to be handled for you. Number 5, they have a buyer protection program, very similar to AliExpress, but you know, kind of like eBay, kind of like Amazon. If you don't receive items at all, they will give you your money back. If you receive items that, you know, aren't up to your standards or whatever, they'll step in and help negotiate with the sellers to right the wrong for you, so to speak. So that buyer protection program comes in handy, and then I'm going to revert back to number 3 and say worst case scenario, even if it doesn't kick in, you're going to be able to do a credit card chargeback and get your money back. I recently had a little bit of a hiccup with an order off DHGate. Basically, there was an item that was selling for, I think it was $20 per item. I went ahead and I bought 100 units of it. Now, the seller messages me a day later and says, oh, the price has gone up, you owe me $400 more. I said, screw off, me $400, you know, like you had it listed at this price, I bought it, either send it to me or refund my money. Well, oh, well, no, you know, that's $400 more. I can give you this other product for this price. Well, I don't want that other product. So then the guy told me, okay, well, cancel the transaction and say that you don't want it anymore. And basically, I'm guessing that he gets penalized by DHGate for listing items for the wrong price or playing games. And really, I should have just agreed to it and said, okay, I don't want it anymore, and he would have refunded me right away. But I was kind of annoyed by the whole thing, and I decided to kind of be a stickler. And I said, look, either you know, sell it to me at the price that I bought it for, or refund my money because you're out of inventory or whatever. But I'm not gonna quote unquote lie and say that it's a different reason why this transaction is being canceled. So we got into kind of a big thing, and it took about a month for me to get my money back. But in the end, I did get my money back. But that just wanted to kind of share an example of how the buyer protection program did kick in and support me, and I did get all my money back. And then lastly, number 6, I think this is probably the most important one. It's so much simpler than Alibaba for pretty much all the reasons that I've mentioned to you guys above. The payment terms are simpler. Just the interface and using the website is simpler. The shipping is simpler. The payment is simpler. You can order in smaller quantities. And because DHGate is kind of a B2B and B2C platform, I feel like people on there speak better English, which is going to make communicating with people better. And one other thing I'm going to touch on in a minute, but a lot of you guys ask me, can I private label on AliExpress? And, you know, there may be some sellers who will private label stuff for you, but more often than not, they're just resellers and you're not going to be able to private label stuff. I'm going to show you guys a screenshot of a DHGate product where you can private label as little as 1 piece. You can buy one unit and have custom printing done on it. So I know a lot of you guys, aren't ready to do the big minimum order quantities to be able to private label products through Alibaba, but maybe you want to order 20 pieces or 50 pieces or 100 pieces, and you still want to be able to private label. A lot of times you will be able to do that on DHGate. Not every seller, but much better than AliExpress if you're wanting to private label. So that brings me to the next point. You can private label. Unlike AliExpress, DHGate has more opportunities for you to private label a product. So as you guys can see here, this is a screenshot of a watermelon slicer. I've touched on these watermelon slicers in a couple videos in the past. And as you can see here, the part that I've highlighted in red says custom design print logo. So this means they will print your logo on the item for you. Useful pink ABS plastic watermelon fruit cutter slicer core server scoop knife kitchen utensil smart tool. You get the point. But as you can see here, here's a seller who right in the title is saying that they will private label for you. They have 100% positive feedback. They ship out within 2 business days. Really competitive price here. As you saw when I was looking up watermelon slicers on AliExpress, they were going for like $3 a piece. Here I can order as little as 1 piece, and it's only going to cost me 86 cents to 93 cents. So this is, I think, probably the best perk about DHGate over AliExpress, and even over Alibaba if you're looking to do smaller order quantities. You don't have to order 5,000 pieces of inventory to private label an item. You can order, I don't know that, I'm not 100% sure they'll private label 1 piece, but I'm fairly certain at like 10 pieces and above, they would private label for you. You're not going to find that on AliExpress. DHGate has very competitive pricing compared with Alibaba, and competitive terms as well. So pricing is very competitive with Alibaba. A lot of times, if we're looking at Alibaba and AliExpress, we may see this watermelon slicer selling on Alibaba for like 60 cents. And then when we go over to AliExpress, the price jumps up to like $3 or $4 since we're not ordering bulk. Here, as you can see, you are paying a bit more. This top screenshot here is from DHGate. I'm sorry, this top screenshot is from Alibaba. The bottom screenshot here is from DHGate. So as you can see here, this watermelon slicer from Alibaba is 60 cents to 76 cents, depending on how many pieces you order. They're saying that they have 1,000-piece minimum order. So in order to get even the worst price here of 76 cents, you're going to have to order 1,000 pieces. Now, chances are if you message a seller, they'd probably let you do it for about 200 pieces. But nonetheless, you still have to negotiate with them. You got to contact them. What do we see here? The minimum order quantity is only 1 piece, and you're paying 86 cents to 93 cents. So probably for like 1 to 6 pieces, you're probably going to pay 93 cents. For like 10 pieces and above, it may go down to like 90 cents. For 50 pieces and above, it may go down to like 88 cents. For 100 pieces and above, 86 cents. But the price isn't substantially different. And that's another thing it brings up. I know a lot of you guys have been telling me that you're finding the shipping costs to be prohibitive on AliExpress. I'm sorry, on Alibaba. And that's true. Alibaba and sea shipping is going to be really cheap if you're ordering a ton of stuff. But really, when you're shipping by sea, they typically charge you by the CBM in my experience. And whether you order, I'll give you an example. I was importing hoverboards last year around Christmas time. If I sent 10 hoverboards, it cost me $250. If I sent 100 hoverboards, it cost me $250. So I'm paying for the CBM regardless of whether I fill it or not. So in that instance, the less product that I import, the more shipping adds onto each piece. You know what I mean? Because if I'm importing 100 hoverboards and shipping's, I will just say $100 for round numbers, it's only costing me $1 per hoverboard to ship. If I'm importing 10 hoverboards and it's still costing me the same amount, now that's $10 more per unit that I'm spending. So the more you import, the cheaper shipping is going to be by sea. But if you're just looking to order a little first round order or a test order or whatever, shipping is going to be pretty cost prohibitive. So this is going to come with, this order right here is going to come with free shipping. They're going to ship it out within 2 days. You only have to order 1 piece and you're able to get this price. Now, if we look up here at Alibaba, we got to order 1,000 pieces. They're not going to ship for 30 days. And we're really not saving that much money. We're saving about 30 cents, which on a cheap item like that, I mean, this is probably, 20-something% cheaper. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're selling watermelon slices for $9.99 or $14.95, either way, these are pretty good margins here. So this is one of the big perks of DHGate is you're able to order wholesale in larger quantities, you're able to private label, and your pricing is going to be pretty competitive with Alibaba. I mean, if you were to tell me, okay, you can pay 20 cents more and you don't have to order 1,000 pieces. That's well worth it to me, and I imagine it is to a lot of you guys as well. DHGate is B2B and B2C. So AliExpress is great, but it's more business to consumer than business to business. DHGate, you can go order one piece. It is for people to shop personally, but it caters more to wholesalers than AliExpress. If you're looking for smaller order quantities with more convenient terms, DHGate may be for you. Alibaba, like I said, often requires you to order 500 or 1,000 pieces to get the same price DHGate will do for 10 pieces. DHGate is also more clear with wholesale terms as opposed to Alibaba, with small discounts for additional items, or you have to message the supplier. So let's go back to this web browser here. So when I go to the DHGate, I mean, I know exactly, this isn't the listing we were looking at before, but I know exactly what my pricing is going to be at different order quantities. I know exactly what the shipping is going to cost me. In this case, it's free shipping. And I have options to upgrade if I want to get it faster. I know exactly how I'm going to pay. I'm going to pay with my credit card. They have a free coupon here for me to get $10 additional off my order. Returns and guarantees. It's guaranteed to be to me in 26 days. I mean, everything is very clearly laid out for me. And there's a shopping cart right here. So if I want to buy it, I either add it to my cart or I click buy it now. Now let's go over to Alibaba, and I'm sorry, we're on AliExpress here. Let's go over to Alibaba. Watermelon slicer. Okay, so here we look at watermelon slicers. My price could be, here some people don't even list the price. Here, my price could be as cheap as $1. It could be as much as $1.30. It could be as cheap as $1. It could be as much as $2.50. This guy requires you to order 120 pieces. This one's only 50. But let's go into one of these listings here. So I don't really know what my price is, right? Like probably for 50 pieces, because that's the minimum, I'm probably paying $2.50. But I really don't know. Okay, if I order 100 pieces, what's my price? If I order 500 pieces, what's my price? If I order 1,000 pieces, what's my price? I don't really know what I'm paying, whereas here on DHGate, it's clearly laid out for me where the price breaks come at, what the minimum order quantity is, what the shipping is going to cost. With this, I don't know what my shipping is going to cost. I'm going to have to message a seller to find out what shipping is going to cost. I'm going to have to, or here they list what their payment terms are: TT, Western Union, MoneyGram, and PayPal. A lot of sellers won't list their payment terms, so whereas basically every transaction on Alibaba turns it into a negotiation and having talking to a seller, DHGate pretty much clearly lays everything out for me there. Let's go back over here. So yeah, as I said, DHGate is more clear with wholesale terms as opposed to Alibaba with discounts for additional items. You have to message the seller. Let's look at the Alibaba example listing. I'm basically showing you guys kind of what I just showed you. So here we're looking at a watermelon slicer. The FOB price is 60 cents to 76 cents. The price on DHGate, I think I showed you, was it like 88 cents to 92 cents or something like that? Fairly competitive pricing, and instead of ordering 1,000 pieces, I only have to order one piece. Minimum order quantity is at what I just pointed out there. Here they're requiring 1,000 pieces. On DHGate, they're requiring one piece. Payment terms, this seller is only accepting Western Union, MoneyGram, escrow, bank wires, and then here's some credit terms here as well. But less convenient payment terms. I could go on DHGate right now or at 2 in the morning and place an order in my underwear without ever leaving my house. With Alibaba, I have to message a seller, find out the price for how many pieces I want to order, negotiate with them about how many pieces I want to order, ask them if they're willing to do less than 1,000 pieces, ask for shipping charges for various shipping options, etc. So I either have to contact the supplier, even if I start the order, no payments actually taken. That basically just opens up a dialogue in between the two of us. But as you can see here, this is kind of a complicated process, right? Let's go over to the DHGate example listing, and you see I got kind of crazy arrows pointing all over the place. So as I mentioned, competitive pricing. We're not paying that much more for a single piece than we are for 1,000 pieces in Alibaba. Here we see the shipping cost, 22 custom logo. So this shipping cost is $22.55. But some sellers are offering free shipping, but at least they are clearly laying out what the shipping is going to cost to me. There's no having to like run around checking different freight forwarders and different shippers. There's no having to contact the seller asking them what the various shipping breakdowns are, etc. So everything that I need to know here is clearly laid out for me. I kind of mentioned the clear breakdowns of what the various pricing is at different order quantities. Faster delivery time. Here it says we'll have on-time delivery in 16 days, whereas Alibaba, I believe, was 30 days. I talk about the straightforward order process. There's no contacting a seller and negotiating. Like if I'm ready to order, I literally go click buy it now, and my order is placed, and probably a 2-day waiting time, and they're going to ship that order out to me, and then within 16 days I'm going to have it. And then lastly, if you follow this arrow over here, they have a buyer protection guarantee, and then again, because they take credit cards, Skrill, etc., as you can see over here, worst case scenario, if you wind up getting screwed and DHGate protection doesn't kick in and protect you, you are able to do a credit card chargeback, and you're pretty much 99% guaranteed to get your money back. So what are the pros of DHGate? Simplified user experience and order processing, simpler payment terms, simpler shipping terms, competitive pricing with Alibaba for much smaller order quantities. Private labeling is available, unlike AliExpress, which is where I normally send you guys. Clear volume discounts, smaller minimum order quantities, and buyer protection. What are the negatives or the cons of DHGate? Slightly higher pricing than Alibaba, but to me that's kind of negligible and well worth being able to order smaller order quantities. Next, not as private label oriented as Alibaba, so even though it's much better than AliExpress, not every seller on DHGate is going to offer private labeling, but as I showed you guys, a lot of sellers are. So that's a huge selling point there. And then lastly, less product customization available. Now, for most of you guys who are newbies, this doesn't even matter to you one way or the other. And I'm not talking about redesigning a completely new product. I'm just talking about, let's say like I'm ordering a Cree flashlight, and where everybody else has orange buttons on their Cree flashlight, I want like a neon pink button on my Cree flashlight. On Alibaba, they could easily do that for me. I don't know that DHGate's going to do that for me, but they do private label, so it couldn't hurt to ask. What are the pros of Alibaba? Typically the lowest pricing around. Like I said, occasionally I will find products priced lower on AliExpress or DHGate than on Alibaba, but typically because you're ordering larger order quantities and hopefully dealing with a manufacturer, not a trader, you're going to get the best pricing. Number two, it's geared towards custom orders, private labeling, and product customization, which I just kind of touched on. And number three, larger manufacturing capacity. So again, for most of you newbies out there who are starting off ordering 10, 20, 50, 100 units, this probably isn't a big concern for you. But if you get into retail, if you get into selling to other distributors who are going to be reselling your products, or if you just get a product that's flying off the shelves, Alibaba is most likely going to be able to keep up with your demand better than DHGate or AliExpress would. What are the cons of Alibaba? A much more complicated interface and user experience, as I showed you. The site doesn't have a shopping cart, which kind of adds to the complication in the user experience. You must negotiate everything from shipping to price to minimum order quantity. It's less convenient and less safe payment methods. A lot of people have been burned buying off Alibaba. More complicated shipping. Most stuff on Alibaba is shipped via sea shipping. Say that 3 times fast. Customs, freight forwarders, etc. It all kind of adds a lot more complication than just paying for something and have it shipped to your door. There's more scammers on Alibaba. Why? What's been explained to me is a lot of these guys who work in factories over in China, they may steal like a customer list or email addresses. If you notice, if you've ever placed an order inquiry through Alibaba and shared your email address, you'll notice you start getting all these emails to your personal email. Hey, we can sell you iPhones. Hey, we can sell you this. And the reason is because people are basically stealing emails from the factory they work for and then trying to run a little hustle on the side. Now, some of these guys are honest guys who are just trying to, I guess I shouldn't say honest guys. Some of these guys are just trying to steal some business from the factory they work for. Others, however, are trying to get you to send them Western Union money, and then you're never going to hear from them again. Now, because DHGate has a buyer protection program and accepts credit cards, scammers basically know that they're going to be kicked off the platform pretty quickly after scamming people, and that ultimately the buyer is going to get their money back through buyer protection. So it's not even really worth running a scam. So not to say that there are no scams on AliExpress or DHGate, but the scammers are kicked off quickly, and you as a buyer are always going to get your money back. After more scammers on Alibaba, the next Alibaba Con, not as good buyer protection. They do have, their TT service, but a lot of people get really confused by it. I know a couple people who've had to put it into action, and it's one thing, if you never receive your items, you're going to get your money back. But if you receive items that are of poor quality, or your label wasn't put on straight or not put on properly, etc., those types of issues are going to be harder to iron out. And you may be able to get partial credit back for your purchase, but you're not always going to get all the money back. So I feel like AliExpress and DHGate have a stronger buyer protection program than Alibaba. And then lastly, Alibaba is more for experienced importers. If you've never imported anything, if you've never bought from China, if you've never sold online, Alibaba may be a bit overwhelming to you. So let's wrap this up. If you've been wanting to get into private labeling but are overwhelmed by trying to place an order on Alibaba, try DHGate. If you want to private label a product in smaller quantities, try DHGate. If you're dabbling with the idea of e-commerce and have $20 to blow, take action and try it. And lastly, any excuses or pussyfooting around about why you haven't started are gone. There's no excuse that, oh, I don't want to send somebody Western Union, I'm worried about getting scammed. Not an issue. Oh, I don't really understand where my product's going to come to or how to use a freight forwarder. Guess what? It's going to come to your door. Any excuses you had why you couldn't do this or why you've been stalling on doing this are out the window. DHGate kind of simplifies everything for you, and the prices are competitive and everything. Let me, 1 second. I'm about to wrap up this video in a second. We'll type in private label. So as you can see here, there's a lot of products that come up when we search for private label. If we search like custom logo, so we have a Cree flashlight we can do with a custom logo. We have silicone bracelet. So all these products are products that these sellers are willing to customize for you. We got shavers, trucker hats, t-shirts, weed pipes, callus removers. I mean, there's all types of stuff here. But for those of you guys who've been either intimidated by Alibaba, who can't meet the minimum order quantities, or are just confused by the whole process, give DHGate a try. I think you'll like it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to my channel, to the bottom left of this video, there's a button there. It says subscribe. Click it, and you'll be notified of all my upcoming videos. And if you guys have any questions about DHGate, private labeling, importing, etc. in general, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will talk to you on the next video.